check-in where we talk about what we've been shipping, what is the product that we're building, and where we're headed to every single week with Recoup. Today, everything's on fire, nothing is working, and there's lots of bugs. So we will be debugging that and trying to figure out why stuff's not working. I shipped a whole lot of MCP stuff this week, and I'm currently seeing an error when I'm trying to use chat. It's not giving me a response, and I'm seeing in the Vercel logs MCP error. I've been debugging it for the past hour or so. Originally, I thought it was going to be the Anthropic error, but it seems like one of our MCP servers are throwing an error. My current looking into it looks like it's Perplexity that is throwing the error, which makes me think we might have run through the credits that we have in Perplexity, or the server I set up is not working right, might have expired the key. So the first question I'll toss to you is, do you see anything in our Perplexity dashboard that would make it look like it might be not functioning from an MCP standard?
Let me pull this up. Exporting models. The API and tabs. Account. I'm gonna just or no, because we have environment variables, so I'm not going to share. API. Available credits, $198.
So still plenty of credits. It's not a credit.
Current usage is $1.18.
We've only used $1.18.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, so something is going wrong then, and the API key has not changed from what you sent to me.
No. You want me to resend it to you right now?
Yeah, if it's cool with you, we'll go through a quick hot fix. Like the app's not working, and so I'm kind of thinking it's not worth us sitting here and talking, or maybe it is worth us still doing our normal reflection.
Let's give it 5 minutes and try to debug together.
Okay.
Why not?
Yeah.
And then
yes.
if we hit some walls, I'll call it, but
cool.
Can't hurt. Let me send you ENV. I'll send you the ENV. You want me to generate a new one just to have?
No, the same. Let's keep the same API key. Don't rotate it. Hi. So I send hi in the chat, and I'll open up Vercel for Recoupable for Recoup chat.
What did you send in the chat?
I'm not sending anything in chat. I'm opening up the chat app.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it. Yeah, all right.
Are you seeing my screen?
I'm putting in just to double check that it's the same API key. I'm gonna put it behind this, and I'll put it in Slack.
Copy. Slack, I'll move to the other screen. Oh, okay. Well, now it's working again. So I was incorrect. I think we potentially can proceed, seeing that it is working.
So this is the error that I was getting last night, and it seems like it sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. So
yeah, I think let's see what happens when we try to use the Perplexity tool specifically. This last time it didn't use it, and that might have been why. But maybe the focus of the conversation is just inconsistent chat experience.
Yeah, this is what's happening. Open up the logs, and it's going to say
chat looks like it replied.
The error I was getting was check it pull it up. Where is it? Slack. It was. Oh no, this was not it. Internal server error. Pull up the browser or the inspect and see. That's usually where I was seeing the. that it? Uncaught promise?
No.
No. Oh, let me see if I could do it from the dev server, because I think I was getting the same issue. Or actually, I'm not going to do it from the dev server because I don't want to do it on a path to make sure that we're debugging two different things.
Yeah, I'm not getting any.
There we go.
There's one. Yeah, and this is the MCP client error that I've been seeing.
Yeah, that's the same one that I saw last night.
So I want to say that this, we've got two main errors. The one that's breaking right now is MCP related. And the other one is Anthropic related. This one we can potentially fix just by getting a new MCPSO server. So you sent me, I'm going to try to open up a quick pull request with a new MCP server. Check out to main. I'll pull from main. And then let's check out to Sweetman Tech /hotfix MCP perplexity. Wait, perplexity is using an environment variable, so we just need to update the environment variable that's being set. So we just go over to settings. We'll go to environment variables.
I can see your screen.
Yeah, cool copy. Thank you for telling me. And then I'm just going to change perplexity MCP server to a new URL. So I'll go, I'll stop sharing and I'll do those changes. Okay, so take Slack where you sent me perplexity key and thread. Take that key. We use mcp.so right now. I'm wondering if mcp.so is not going to be scaling, or if the keys just like expire, and if this is only for demos, but not for long-term use. And if that's the case, it's fine, because now I know how to build our own MCP server. Put in the new key. Did you give me the same key, or did you send a new key?
Same key.
Same key. I got a URL. You're not seeing my screen, right?
No.
I got a different URL than I had before. So let's save that. Do a redeploy of production, and let's see if that fixes it. Main, create deployment. All right, so that will get going. But I think again, the two critical errors that we're working through are MCP and Anthropic rate limit.
Yeah, and all right, let me. I gave you that DeepSeek API key, although I don't know if the billing is set up correctly on it. So that might be the issue. Did you set up the fallback for it?
No, I was trying to do that today as well, and then the MCP issue was hitting me locally, and so I keep having to put stuff on hold. I was going to try to get MCP integrated for the new tools, and then the Anthropic limit hit me, and so I switched to work on the Anthropic limit, and then I was working on the Anthropic limit, and then the MCP limit hit me. So I just keep, it feels like I've shipped a whole bunch of features, and now we don't have a robust stack, and so now we're going to have to spend time getting it more robust and figuring out why some of this stuff is failing.
Yeah, well.
But we got MCP now, and we have reasoning. That was not the case a week ago on this call.
4 days on, 1 day debugging. I'm not like, it's a pretty good cadence.
Yeah, a week ago we did. I think the Aleph hackathon was last Saturday. So
yeah,
it hasn't even been a full 7 days since we've had reasoning in our awareness.
Yeah. The reasoning is awesome. What the LangChain to AI SDK, like there was like a lot of shipping this week. It's just now it's a little cleanup.
Yeah. Yeah, while it's deploying, some of the other stuff that has been shipped. So like we said, we've got an MCP server now, which right now I've got on, I think it's next MCP.Vercel.app. I forked this from the hackathon team that was sitting beside me, and I still have not updated the homepage. But you take the same setup as what they have down here and just use this URL. And so it'll be nextmcp.vercel.app/SSE. And that right now is an MCP server to get video posts from Recoup and fans from Recoup, both of those tools. And I'm working on adding in getting the profile across all socials. So they're Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Spotify, as well as our image generation. We've now got an image generation tool. So I'm trying to add those in. But before I keep adding in tools, we got to get our stability on the space. And then the other thing I did is we've got Recoup Docs, which for me has already been a big level up. Because before, when I would send a doc link in my cursor would try to use the Puppeteer tool to open up a browser to try to read the data because our data was not well formatted for AIs. Now, if you send this link or any link in here, it's able to quickly and easily get the info because it's optimized for AI to read from it, all of our docs. And even if it then still doesn't work, you've got a button on the right that allows you to open it up and talk about the docs right in ChatGPT, and it'll automatically import the docs in one click. And so, yeah, it starts to read it. And then finally, you can copy it for LLMs. And so there's a little copy button. And I tried this once. I copied this, put it right into my cursor. And then we've got a bunch of ways now for the AI APIs to work. And so our existing APIs have been migrated, get artist posts, get all of the posts according to one artist. We've got examples for curl, Python, JavaScript, and TypeScript. Same thing for fans. Get all of the fans associated with an artist, curl, Python, TypeScript, JavaScript. And then the two new endpoints, artist profile, get all of the artist profile information, so their TikTok, their Instagram, their Twitter, etc., as well as generate an image. Generate image, all that you do is you pass in a prompt and the artist ID that's going to be associated with, and it generates the image, stores the image on Arweave so that the image is permanently stored, then also creates a token on in process, and that token is owned by the artist ID, so that the artist is publishing art on chain. They don't need to know that they're publishing it on chain, but the provenance is already there, linking the art that they're creating, any image that they generate, back with that profile that they have on Recoup. So one, it links their provenance on base. Two, it gives us more coverage, surface area on base. And three, if they do want to monetize the content, those images or other artifacts that they're creating on Recoup, it's already on chain, and so it becomes way easier for them to tie in some sort of monetization model. So
Yeah,
that was the docs.
I love it.
Cool. I didn't consult with you about the on-chain integration. I was just like, this feels like the time. And then after I saw Greg Eisenberg posted about it, I'm like, this is perfect. I literally built it right before he posted.
Yeah, it's fucking fire. I love it. And I think it's awesome. I think it's really cool. I'm curious to see how people once we roll out the image generation, how people use it, and if it's something that like they don't want publicly on chain, like if they're putting what images they're putting.
Well, we're already storing it on Arweave regardless. So I guess the question is, should we not be storing it on Arweave because we don't want permanent?
Well, I opt in. I'm gonna opt for on chain and public first, and turn off if they don't want it. And if somebody asks to turn it off, that's when we do it, as opposed to adding a feature that nobody's asking for.
That sounds like a great idea. And if someone really cares, they'll be willing to pay for it. And let's have people pay for privacy instead of pay for public.
Yep. Agreed.
Trying it again. Let's see if it does any better. I might need to refresh the page. But chat, when was this? 56. This was not the latest run. Still sitting in thinking. So I'm going to refresh the page and try it again. So far on this call, we have observed an MCP error. I've just tried to generate a new MCP server URL using mcp.so, and now I'm trying to test it to see if that's fixed it. This is normal, or if we still have a broken chat.
It usually doesn't take this long, though.
I agree. In that case, do we just remove Perplexity tool altogether? What if that doesn't even fix it? Do I remove Perplexity tool? Do we ignore it? I mean, chat's not working right now. There's a
Go tell Cursor to just add a bunch of logging, so we could figure out what's going on.
That was what I did for the past 2 hours. I added logging, and it has not. Logging has not helped at all.
Really? Because we don't know where it's failing with the
Well,
server.
we see this, but outside of this, I have not been able to get anything closer so far. Do I just rip out the MCP altogether so that it's only reasoning, and then it reduces the bug space to only only Anthropic? Or is that going to reduce the functionality too much? Do I start by just removing Perplexity? That way we at least still have...
I was going to say, what if you just swap Perplexity with Brave or a different web search?
Yeah, we could throw in any URL.
I don't know. It's up to you. But we don't need to solve this now. Although I know you have stuff to do after.
Yeah,
this call.
I'm going to be offline for the next however long. So if you're fine with our production app not working, then let's find shift focus. Otherwise, this is probably the last time I'm going to be able to look at code for the next 24-ish hours at least.
What's your gut say to do for the next 15 minutes?
It depends on how bad you want the app to work, or if you're okay with it not working for potentially the whole weekend. Is the priority to make it work, or is the priority to not move fast to see if the bug just fixes itself?
To see if the bug just fix it. It'll fix it for a little bit.
Downside about rolling back is I don't know when we're going to prioritize adding these. I just went on a big sprint to add in a bunch of stuff, and removing it we might not go back to do it again. We might not justify double engineering time for me to have added it in and removed it and then go back to add it in again.
Let's leave it.
Okay, so leave this, ignore the fact that our production app isn't working, and go on to keep doing other stuff on our weekly meeting.
Correct. I want to see how long it's down for, and I'll track it this weekend and try to see what's going on. Where's the other side of this? Is it just like where's the MCP?
Let me transfer ownership into Recoup right now because we're on the call. Transfer recoupable.
Yeah.
How confident are you? You should now have it inside a Recoup.
Checking.
You'll need to accept it first, I think.
Signing in. Messages. Oh. What's it called? Oh, do I have to get it from the email? What? Yeah, here, got it. Yeah, transfer. Yep. Accept the
Okay,
link.
chat is working and Perplexity is also working.
Now?
Yeah.
So it. Okay.
I made a new chat. That might have been it. Is I made a new chat instead of just keep hitting it with more messages.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe. All that I know is it's currently working, replying, and it just gave me the weather in Buenos Aires. 77 degrees, scattered clouds. It is accurate to what we see right now.
Okay, fire. All right, so new chat works. All right, so I'm gonna start. I'll just mess with it this weekend while you're doing your thing.
I agree it's not stable. I agree that there's bugs. So let's understand what those are. Try to get to a pure understanding of what they are. That way, when I get settled, we can focus on them and have more confidence that whatever bugs we're focusing on are like the root cause, instead of what I did today of like, I tried it, oh, there's a deeper cause. Oh, there's a deeper cause. And like spending more time chasing that, it'd be great to find the deep cause.
Yeah, I agree. But, and also like, I don't want to rip it out and go backwards because
this is great. Like when it works, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, the chat's never been better. So when it works, it works. Now now our goal is uptime.
So for anyone who hasn't seen it, the tools that we have now, you can see them here in reasoning. We've got Perplexity Ask, which is an external MCP server. And then we've got two that were built on our own. I built an MCP server that Sid is digging around on right now in GitHub to get all the fans from an artist and to get the posts. And so if I say something like, it's my fans and my posts and highlight the type of content I should make today on Friday, based off of my most engaged and most popular fans and most popular posts. Answer, but as long as everything's working, it'll go through its reasoning step. It'll say, okay, I need to get both of those things. I need to get the posts and the fans. You can see here, first I'll get the fans, then I'll get the posts, then I'll analyze them, then I'll analyze the posts, and then I'll make content recommendations. And so it then goes back to back. It makes those tool calls. It queries our MCP server to get all the fans. It queries the MCP server to get all the tools. It takes the time to do that further analysis. We could potentially be showing more here. I'm not when it goes between the tool calls, it usually will send a little blurb back of like, I just got this. Now I'm doing like, let me gather the necessary data first. After it gets the data, it should reply with more of like, now let me analyze it. But this is a part I want to plant the seed that I would like to expand more. Okay. And then here's the final answer. It gives me specific.
So fire.
Specific people. I agree. It feels way better. It pulls out a specific example before it gives me an example. Like here's what it's recommending I do. Here's why it's going to work. Here's some specific artists, and here's me analyzing your post. All in 2 prompts. I said, hi, what's the weather? And then I actually dove into the music and asked it to tell me what to post.
Yeah, so good.
That was this week.
The chat has never been better, Sweet. It's a fucking amazing job. Like I feel like we're back, baby, to where we were in January, but with much better infrastructure and a better response and reasoning and that whole thing. So we're in a really, really good place. On my side of the updates, I emailed all the free trials to start getting free trial users to start setting up onboarding experiences. I've heard back from a couple. We set some stuff up for next week, and then I'll probably do another round of emails after this call to try to set up everything for next week for onboarding, like the actual calls with them. So the goal would be Monday, try and knock out the bug, so that when I start onboarding them, throughout the chat works, and throughout the month, it's only getting better every day.
Have you reflected back on that list you had sent me a week ago at all?
Which list? Oh, the why I'm worried about onboarding?
Yes.
Yeah, I have. And also, I really appreciate you giving me that feedback, because it really helps to write it down and not use AI, get it out of my head and really get down to like the nitty gritty of like, why am I really worried here? And then realize like, oh, this is like stupid. And like, you know, my actual real worry was like, do we only get one shot? Like, it was like, I was like Eminem in the bathroom, like, do not miss your chance to blow. Like this, the opportunity comes once. And then I was like, wait a second, like, that's ridiculous. Like, if it doesn't work today, like, and then I'm just like, hey, new feature, try it again. And the new feature, try it. Like, so like, yeah, it was kind of like a ridiculous thought process. And it also gives me a reason to continuously like update people and just be more habitual about and ritual about keeping in contact with our customers on a more regular basis. Like, it's almost like shit broke, oops. So like, just be more real with them about it than just like pretending like we're an enterprise, you know, $100 million company, and like you can't talk to the founders because we're like, you know. So I think that was awesome. I really, and reflecting back on it, I think my biggest worry was that the chat wasn't working. And like, now that it's working, it's like, okay, cool. Like it's a lot easier to like trust that they can get on the app and start playing around and not get stuck. Because that was my biggest thing, is like, if once you get stuck, you kind of like, there's nowhere else to go. So like, if we can just get to that point where they can start to explore, click prompts, see what happens, and like add artists, like start setting up the system to explore. I'm really excited about it. And then like just figuring out how to implement, like I had sent you like the like deep research, like, or like me working through prompts with them, me setting things up with them, sending them updates on like cool things that we're finding out for their artists, and like diving into updates, just regular updates and insights that we're getting. So yeah, I'm excited about this. And so the next steps for me, once, well, if since it's working now, I'll be able to implement this stuff. My blocker right now is I was going to do the knowledge base PR ship, but I got blocked because I couldn't test it. But now that it's working, I'll be able to test it. My question is, will the MCP call it on local, or do I need to install the MCP? Well, now that you just sent it to me, I can install the Vercel MCP and run that locally while I'm doing the dev.
I always use remote MCPs. So the URL I've got the prod MCP server already in local, so it'll already work for you.
Okay, so it's working in
the Perplexity one I have set as an environment variable. So if you go into Vercel, you can copy the existing environment variable and set that locally.
Okay, perfect. So I don't even have to really do anything.
Run additional stuff now.
Perfect. Okay, cool. All right, so then I'm gonna ship the knowledge base, but like we don't need to do it today. Like or we can review it on Monday once we're back. Once you're back in shipping mode, and then some little things that I'm gonna try to touch up on is just like chat formatting, like which is like simple things, just like adding more markdown so that it's easier to read the chat responses. Because like right now, I think it's just like a little condensed, a little text heavy. How do we make it more simple, delivering more markdown? And then what was the other thing? The knowledge base, chat responses in markdown, and then I was going to start playing around with the artist homepage and seeing like what information can we deliver to them when they land on like a new artist, new chat? Like, how can we customize that to make it feel personal, more personable, like a dashboard for that specific artist? I feel what you're saying though, right here, like we do the Manus style or even the cursor style, like where like it shows you what tools it's calling and like kind of has like the like, you know, calling this generating or opening browser or typing, yeah, just continuously kind of, and doing like the like shows you the like what it's doing and then kind of like ties it together.
Yeah.
This is awesome though.
Do we want to jump back into the Notion or jump on? Is there? Go ahead. You were about to say something.
I was going to say, what's your thoughts on the image generation? And one, how are you doing it?
It works. Did you see it?
No.
Oh, let me. Well, it works on our API. So let me pull up Postman. Are you still seeing my screen?
Yeah.
I should still have the API here. So this is prod api.recoupable.com API. And instead of posts, we'll do, I think it's image generate. Let me verify in the docs. Image generation. Here's the URL.
Which model is it?
Dolly 3. Because 4.0 doesn't include image generation yet. But I wanted to get something out just so we have image generation and then we can iterate over it. But I wanted to get it plugged into the MCP so that we can already start doing image generation in-house instead of getting some of the MCP.
No, I agree. This is so great. Because having these tools is going to supercharge shit. And then like once we're already pulling posts from them, we can start to create Laura's and we'll have like their brand aesthetics.
What feels nice about the new 4.0 is that we don't even really need networks. It's just like pull the thumbnails from their posts and generate an image based off of their last 5 Instagram. You know, we don't even have to go and do like a replicate model like what we were thinking before.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like literally just turn this into this, or like, you know, like, and we can start to craft their own visual knowledge base for them, which, you know, you don't even have to see in the back end, but just we start to know. Yeah. And I'm still trying to find, I haven't found it yet. I don't know if you know anybody or have thought of anybody, but like, and I think maybe you might have mentioned this, but like a model that can recognize music. I know there's models like Whisper that like are recognizing audio and like vocal, like, you know, conversations and shit, but like, I don't know of any. There has to be them because like Spotify has algorithms that are deciding whether things are like fast tempo and shit. But like finding like an open source music multi-model that will allow us to add artist audio and then have like an understanding of, or I let the models understand what kind of music they're making, you know, like what is it. Figuring that portion out is going to be fire.
So here's the API docs for the image generation API. We return status and then in data a URL. That's the Arweave link. Post ID, which eventually will be the ID of the post in Supabase. Artist ID, which is the ID of the artist, and then the created at. Here is the actual response that I just got. We got our Arweave URL. And so here's the image that was just generated of a Studio Ghibli computer nerd. So you can see it's not using the latest model. We're not getting the real good Ghiblification, but we are getting an image. There's a computer nerd. We got a post ID, which for now is the contract address on Base. So if you go to Base and then you look this up, you get back the contract. And I'm thinking just how we want this to be platform-wise, because right now we've got Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I think on-chain is going to be its own platform. We'll have Warpcast, we'll have Lens, Zora, Sound. Like there's a lot of platforms that are on chain. And so this is the contract that was just created. It was created 2 minutes ago. It cost us 0.3 of a penny to create it, and it all happened behind the scenes. And then I can do it again. I just click the send button. You just fire an API request. You don't have to worry anything about private keys or knowing what gas is or knowing what ETH is. You're just generating an image. And then behind the scenes, we're also storing that on chain on 2 different blockchains, on Arweave for permanent image storage,
Yes.
and then on Base for attribution of the creator and the artist to the hash on Arweave. And so we just got a brand new contract while I was yapping. You look up that contract, and then we are now invisibly in our APIs. This was done 9 seconds ago, creating stuff on chain in our APIs.
Fuck yeah, Sweets. Do you know what this means? That once we get the tool chain call, the chained tool calls, and we get to a place where it's like, I recognize you have a big Web3 following. You should do a NFT album. Like, if we have their songs, if we have their visual narrative already stored, we can type in, okay, create that campaign for me, and it will go and spin up a NFT album for them and prompt to on chain, not having to mint anything or do anything. And then bro, come on, that's fun. And then hand it over to the Web3 influencer community builder on their team agent.
I like prompt on chain.
Prompt to on chain, a prompt to chain. That's fucking fire, bro. So it's the infrastructure, man, is there, bro. It's getting, now it's just, all right, how do we tie it all together? But yeah, it's a great fucking week, man.
And clean it up. The biggest things that now that I'm using this on a daily basis, the biggest things that I'm finding are, when I start a new chat, it takes too long between I say hi, 1,000, 2,000, and like the starting of this takes too long. I want to see that it's thinking instantly, and I want to get that response instantly instead of we're redirecting to a new page. And now we finally saw it. That recent chats, I am using this to create my tickets and to write my scripts and everything. And so on chat, I go back to the same chat and expand that for my tickets because it already knows the ticket format that I want. And I want to be able to go back. So I want the recent chats to actually be sorted in order of the chat that has had the latest message entry into that room. And then finally, when I've been doing some of my tickets, some text and squeeze it all into one line. Lorem ipsum. It'll start pushing out on the right, and it'll make it so that I can scroll to the right of the page. Reasoning seems like it's working fine. This also seems like it's working fine. It's an edge case. So like right now it's doing fine. There's some times where the entire page will scroll, and I don't want it. This is what I want it to do, what it's doing right now. Those were the biggest 3 that I've seen in my testing, not counting the new stuff that we're seeing of MCP. The MCP error seems to be fixed, but there's sometimes where we just don't get a response, where you'll just type a message, and you've seen it while I've been over here playing. It'll sit and it'll think, and then it'll just not reply, and we don't see anything in the back end.
Yeah. No, but I think that's a huge unlock, Sweets. Like, is if we don't use any other tools this month, if we only use Recoup and we force function dog fooding, so that anything we're like, oh man, this sucks, we just fix it because it's a blocker for us. It makes us want to go to somewhere else, and that's like a huge
awesome to have the chat. And I'm now including in the tickets words about Recoup to like tie it full circle of like, you are writing tickets to improve the app that I'm talking to you on. And it feels different now to be talking to it about the tickets. And it's almost like changing the context a little bit. Like I want to help you improve, and like talking to the chat of like, help me think through this ticket that I'm using, that I will write software to improve you.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Fucking fire. So, okay. So what I'll do while like take the weekend, cause you ship so much, and go hang out and fucking explore where you're going. I'm going to work on shipping knowledge base, shipping, response formatting. Recent chats seems really simple. I think I already had a ticket open, but I'll redo that one. Question about recent chats. Do you want to see all your recent chats across all your artists, or do you want to see just recent chats for the artists that you have selected?
I think that's a great question. I don't have a strong preference. Whatever's the easiest for you to build.
I think it's equally as easy. It's just like going back to like user experience. Like, do you it just how are people using the app? Are they thinking of it like when you have an artist selected, the interface should only show stuff from that artist? Or is it like I have this artist selected, but like I can still see my other artists over here and over here? And so just thinking through but I haven't really like explored the other options. So I'll play with both and see which one feels better. I don't like if you don't have a thing. The thing that you mentioned about the scrolling thing, I get to move to the side sometimes on the edge case. That also happens on mobile, where like you have to like it's not locked in to a position on mobile. So I think like
here's the example. It's on my tickets. You see it here?
Yeah. Oh, so it's in a code. It's when it's a code.
You're right. It's when it's a code block.
Okay, got it.
Which is what I do for my tickets.
Code blocks, lock text to view. Yeah, dope. So it's like that, and then a similar thing happens on mobile, which I can. It'll be a separate ticket though. And then the last but not least is I in the knowledge base ticket or the knowledge base PR. I'm gonna start a new lib/prompts where we can store all of our prompt code. I have system prompt in there that will push, but right now our system prompt includes a constant from our description of our website.
Yeah.
And I think that we can get, I want to just start to play around with a lot more A/B testing on the system prompt to really dial in and see how do we like maximize our system prompts.
Yeah.
And then like start to really play around with all of the prompts in this app. So I'll try to format everything into that prompt folder and then just start A/B testing the system prompt, because like you mentioned, if you're writing, like I wonder if you're writing tickets for linear, like which doesn't have anything to do with music marketing technically, but like we're feeding it like you're a music marketing expert, write me a ticket for linear. you know, like, so how do we playing that balancing act of like, how do we make it open general enough so that it's dope for tickets, but it also has like a personality around the music thing. But again, it's just going to be an A/B testing of different prompts to see what happens. So that's going to be a long work in progress, but I want to make sure I set up the foundation and the organization of those files, because I feel like those are files that we're going to be going back to a lot to A/B test.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
My goals next week are going to be, let me write yours down. What'd you say your main goals are?
Knowledge base.
Yep.
Response format. So just adding better markdown. Recent chats. Organization.
Yep.
Code block view.
Yep.
System prompt testing.
It's a lot. It's a long list.
That's all by Monday, bro.
So that's before the week starts.
You will have all those PRs on Monday.
AKA, don't expect to ship anything on Monday because there's going to be a lot in review.
There's going to be a lot of, okay. So maybe I should, do more prepping than actually.
If you get, it would be awesome if you had all those open in PRs. Don't. That was a total joke. If you ship all that code, that would be awesome.
Okay. All right. Let's fucking go.
On my side, I'm gonna try to get MCP get the first thing, fix errors for Anthropic, for MCP, any critical errors that are making it so that you and I can't use the chat on a daily basis like I've been doing all week. That's priority so that you and I can continue using the chat. Second, get the MCP servers updated with artist profile and search. I'm sorry, not search, image generation. And then after that, I'm going to be iterating with you on anything that's making me feel like I want to go over to Anthropic or ChatGPT or Grok or anything that's not our chat, figure out how to improve, add MCP tools or whatever's missing in order to make this more enjoyable for me and how I'm using it on a regular basis.
Yep. And then find those features where you're like, damn, Grok doesn't even do this for me. But now I can add it because
that's something I saw with chat already is when I write my tickets in chat, it won't go and do web search. And now when I'm writing my tickets inside of Recoup, oh, wow, it went out and used Perplexity to get a little bit more info on the ticket I was writing. That's something that chat wasn't doing.
That's fire. Like I also like what I want to do with the knowledge bases. That's something I need to figure out is like, actually, can you send me your artist account that you use in your like the most?
You mean like my Sweetman profile?
Yeah, because I'll upload the knowledge base to you. And then that way, like throughout the week, we can iterate on your knowledge base, and anything else that goes in your knowledge base, right? Like where I have that bio that we did the deep research on, but like it'd be really interesting to see like how you prefer your tickets. What are your principles for coding? Like having all of that shit in there so that you never have to tell it all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, send me that over. Yeah, I'm excited, bro. This is just fucking popping off. It's gonna be fucking dope.
What are your thoughts on including the knowledge base you're talking about in the system prompt as opposed to inside of our MCP server as a tool call?
So the way I have it set up now is in system prompt.
Right.
It feeds whatever artist you have selected, the knowledge base of that to the system prompt.
Every single query that is made.
Correct. And then like I think it's going to be a game of playing like how much what changes like what changes the knowledge base. It's just what affects that system prompt the most, right? Like is it a better experience for you if it always has context about your deep research, your history, everything? Like, do you get a better experience, or is that better as a tool call when you need to talk about yourself and ask questions about you as a influencer, artist, and what you're trying to do? So like figuring out where the balance is like, should it be a MCP? Should it be just a general knowledge situation?
Into our prompts, right? Because if we throw it in at the prompt level, we're saying we're going to be paying for these tokens. Every single query that runs through our app, we're throwing this information in. Even though it remembered it in the previous one, we're saying it again and again and again and again. And if we make that longer and longer, it might miss the important parts of the system prompt. And because we keep expanding the default system prompt. Alternatively, we just make it as a tool inside of our MCP server. And then like what happens in all my other chats, I say, hey, tell me about myself. And then it knows, okay, these are the tools I have. I obviously want to grab the knowledge graph or anything asking where I'll need to learn a little bit more about him. And I'll iterate over those in the very first call. I'll get that info once. And then everything that precedes, it references that memory. And if it at all forgets it after 100 messages, it just queries the tool again. And so the question is, do we force it where we want it and right now do that for every single input? Or do we say, AI, we're going to give this tool as a potential. You're going to be smart enough to choose when you need to access that information, access it when you want, and then after that, reference it in your memory instead of getting it every single time. I agree with you. There's like not a clear-cut answer. It's where do we want to put it? It's a spectrum and a balance, something that we will be designing.
Yeah, and I mean, this goes into like the whole, knowledge graph conversation of like the world in which every query that you have is embedded, and so you don't need to call a tool, but it also doesn't need to be in the knowledge base itself. I'm sorry, yeah, it doesn't have to be in the system prompt itself. But you can load up the knowledge graph so that the context window is it's pulling the information about your question without being in a part of the system prompt and the tool call, or it's only getting it's only giving the system prompt the necessary information from the knowledge base. I think it's funny. I was doing a lot of research on knowledge graphs and like the benefit of it having the relationship architecture, but it also just like becomes like a whole fucking thing. And so like I think it only really is going to move the needle when like your knowledge base gets to a point where like the context is so much that like it's getting confused. So like until we hit that wall, let's just like fucking hit the 100,000 tokens and see what the fuck happens,
Agreed. Luckily, Vercel AI SDK does support embeddings, and they've got stuff on RAG chatbots.
Yeah, they have a whole RAG chatbot, and like I was looking at like the knowledge base or the knowledge graph stuff too, which like is very similar. It's just like it's a big architecture shift. It's not a big architecture. It's just like the juice needs to be worth the squeeze. And I think that keeping everything in the context window right now is probably the better version of this.
It keeps our team lean for now.
Yeah, exactly.
Less infrastructure to maintain, less complexity to consider.
Correct. And like I was looking up like, these Claude chat from all of the research that I looked is they're not doing RAG or graph RAG on every single query. They're loading up their system prompts.
Interesting.
I could be wrong here, but like it just for this, because they're so general. Because they're so general, it's like just revolving. It's a revolving door of like once you hit the 100,000 context window, just like then it starts to delete the old shit. Like we have it set for like 100 messages. They have it set for like 100,000 context window, and it just starts removing the old shit, or like then chunking it into like summaries and then summarizing and stuff. So there's like so much we can do with the memory, but like again, let's get users using 100,000 tokens, and then we'll worry about optimizing for long conversations.
Yeah, Matt Kemp told me that the scraping is getting slow for him. He said he had to restart it because it just sat there for a long time and he didn't know if it was working. I don't know if there could potentially be bugs in scraping, so I'm leaning towards let's keep new features low going into next week, really try to get everything stable and get people trying it so we can understand if there's more bugs to fix before we keep going into
new features.
Does that feel like a solid theme to you?
Yes, 1,000%. Get it to a place where like it's working, and that when you start to add new features, like it's all net new, and we're not like we don't start to get lost in the sauce of like we don't know where the bug comes from. We add 3 things, and then we're like, okay, chat's broken, but it could be this or this or this.
Yeah.
Like let's get. I 1,000% agree. I'm also curious to know like remember we were hitting our Apify rate limits for Instagram because of how many people we were scraping. So like he could have just maxed it out. Something I need to check, right?
I'm wondering how we want to build the MCP tools for us to be able to talk about how the platform's doing. Like who is the last person to use the chat? How many people use the chat today? That was something I wanted to talk to you about too. That's a great call, because I think that you had mentioned a Slack bot. FTP. I think that's the perfect way to integrate Slack is like an internal tool that just like we can query from Slack. Yep, I agree 100%. I think what that looks like is we add the code for that inside of the chat repo, and it's just a different endpoint for that chat connected up to the Slack bot, and it has its own set of tools, including like maybe we have an admin MCP server and an API, or we expand and add these admin tools in? Like, do we want, or
Yes. Where you're going with it. If I was an admin of my record label, I'd want to know. I want that information.
interesting how you took that. That sounds like a great idea. So in that case, we can continue to expand the existing MCP server, and then the difference will be just putting an interface into Slack that will hit the same chat endpoint.
It's thinking through, like, how do we make sure that, I guess it doesn't matter in the beginning because we're going to be able to see all accounts. But again, let's not add a feature for somebody else who isn't requesting it. But like what we're requesting is, okay, cool, Slack, what's the most popular question? How many people are, like, should we just put together 5 questions that we want to be able to query
in Slack?
Yeah.
That'd be a good list. First off, it'll work just like Recoup chat, and then if we want more stuff, we can. Like, I think linear would be a great addition for our Slack bot, so that it gets easier to groom the linear board straight from Slack. And I don't know that that's something we would want to throw into the Recoup web app for now. I'm curious of your thoughts on what the business opportunity is for MCP servers and if you've considered it.
I think it's a huge business opportunity. I think that everything that we do that is more aligned for building for agents before humans, like our docs are built for agents first, before humans, are like, we have our data is agent first. Like, I think sets us apart from every competitor in the space, in our music data space right now. I haven't seen any competitor building an MCP. So like, that alone itself is like, we're optimizing for agents first, and developers, I think, is a great next step. How to monetize it, I don't know. Whether it's like an API thing, whether it's a pay for privacy for current users, like you had mentioned, where if you don't want your fan data shared with publicly available and shared, then you can pay extra for that, and just figuring out what, but I think for now, just like, let it be open, and we're scraping all this data, let people use it and see if they build anything on top of it. And then if somebody starts using it a lot and we're like, all right, cool, like, hey, how much would you pay us to continue doing this? What are your thoughts?
I agree with you. MCP is the data pipeline for agents. We started with web interfaces. We realized there's a lot of benefit in building APIs because it gives access to devs to build other apps on top. And I think MCP is where it's going. Seeing that there aren't hosted MCP servers for big companies like Linear and GitHub yet is telling me that this is not a concept that is easy for those teams to understand, even though people are organically building MCP servers around them. There's none that are hosted. After trying to build MCP servers locally, I think there's a lot of opportunity for building hosted MCP servers because it makes it very easy for devs to add into their apps. And so I think there's going to be a series of companies that will build MCP servers that are a collection of tools that they will offer, whether that's their own proprietary tools like Recoup, or something that's like Recoup has a hosted version of Linear tools and it's our own custom tool set for Linear's APIs. I think it's a new service layer that's going to be built of teams that are building to empower the agent layer with APIs that either they built themselves or that they are creating great agentic layer access for GitHub or other third-party APIs. And I think that's going to be where there's going to be new token charges. And so I think there's going to be more businesses that'll get spun up at this layer. I think MCP it's the layer between the LLMs and all the data. And so all the businesses are going to start to create MCP servers. I think that there is a lot of opportunity there for teams that don't have a lot of tech debt right now and they can iterate quickly, get as much of their current APIs integrated into an MCP server, and then start thinking through how do you attach API keys to your MCP server usage. And then that way that becomes how you do your billing. Because if you've given all your tools over to an agent, every agent query starts to rack up API calls, which is a whole new way to be charging of the human is using the service through an API or through an MCP. I think it's a big opportunity.
So you said something interesting there, and I think that I want to, as the podcasters would say, let's double click on that. So I've always wanted to add that into a conversation, but I never figured it out. So I'm really happy about that. To expand on what you were discussing with about the Slack admin portal, whatever you want to call it, like Slack, like being able to query, like, what are the top topics that people are messaging, what my user messaging, what's the average amount of messages each user sent this week, like things like that, so we know people are people using it, what are they asking for, like, etc. I think it's going to be really, really powerful. But I think that, are there any other places that we should be tracking that we're not as we go into free trials and onboarding, like API calls from devs using our MCP servers, right? Like, are people chatting with segments more than or less than chatting with normal chats? What segments are they clicking? Like, are they like, is it just the top ones with the most, or are they clicking like bottom? Like, thinking through all of that data and how to, like, what, like, there's so much of it. So what are the questions that are going to move the needle to help us make better product choices? Like, I feel like if we pick the data points that will move some of the smoke away from where our ship is going and help us point us in the right direction when we're on these calls of, like, what should we ship this week? Oh, well, the top question was, who should I collaborate with? Okay, well, there's a tool that we can figure out, like, or people aren't clicking chat segments with less than 20 people.
Right.
They just don't click it. So let's just remove, like, really product decision data points that we can pull.
Question to challenge you with over the weekend. What are the questions you're asking Recoup chat which it lacks the data to answer currently? Like, are you asking what are the top people using Recoup right now? What are common themes and conversations being asked on Recoup? As you're asking those, start to write them down and send them my way so that we can start to design what tools are missing from our MCP server.
I like it. What are the questions asked?
What questions are you asking Recoup chat which it lacks the data to answer?
And this is as me as an admin using.
Yeah, you as one of the co-founders of Recoup.
Got it. That we can't get the yet. All right, I like it. And just say, yeah, get that list and pick it, because that's I think going to be a huge needle mover, especially going into the onboarding. So if we have that set up, it'll be so clear.
This is end of Q3, and we didn't talk about the goals. Can you mind if I share the Notion and we only talk about the quarter goals?
Let's do it.
Thank you. Just to give me a little bit of closure. Notion.so. Can you see screen?
Yeah.
No, I'm not logged in. What? Take me to the weekly recap page. Okay, I'm just going to go to quarter valuable product. We said valuable product, and were you getting value on a daily basis? I haven't known when we're going to get to this part, and I think we have finally gotten here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I'm like,
it took us 99% of the quarter to not do this, and then in 1 week, you were able to post to me, "Can you just stop using chat?" And I was like, "Actually, yeah, I can stop using chat." So I would say that we have finally hit, like, I'm getting value on a daily basis when it works, and so now I just want more uptime so that I can enjoy it more.
I like it. I agree.
On the other one, valuable product. Before I was saying lack of immediate results in tools and MCP. I feel like we're getting closer to valuable. I want to, the next point for me on valuable product is I want to show this to people and hear what their thoughts are, because a lot has changed in the past week. You and I know it. Maybe people that have watched the streams have seen it, but I don't know how many people have actually tested the chat and seen how different it is now. And I'd love to hear other people's perspectives, to hear if they think it's as valuable as I'm seeing it now.
I agree.
And so I would say that we got pretty close, if not hit it. On your side, keeping it a little bit more focused instead of just yes or no. What did we miss on these quarterly goals? What could we have done better to have felt higher confidence that we completed these 2 tasks? Or what is still missing? What can we focus on in Q2?
Customer feedback.
Customer feedback. Thank
you. Straight the fuck up. Customer feedback. Customer feedback and us using it more. Like the more we are using it and are actually like confidently excited to use it, to a point where like we then are like, yo, I'm using it to the point where I realize that, oh, it'd be cool if it did this, and then I go and I implement that feature in order to solve my own problem so that I can use it even better. And then you just create this iteration cycle that you can't do in Claude, you can't do in ChatGPT, because you don't have the code base to do those things. I think that iteration cycle, and because then you're gonna be like, I mean, I just generated this fire ass post. Like, I really wish I could just schedule this on Twitter so I don't have to think about it. Okay, boom. Oh no, Sweets left. Am I still live?
My connection.
All right, it's cool. I handled it.
So Q2, you're planting the seeds of dog fooding, high priority for Q2. Customer feedback, high priority for Q2. Any other? We'll talk more about Q2 goals next week, but any other Q2 goals that you want to start planting the seeds for?
I really want to double our revenue.
Can you give me a number? I've written down 2x revenue.
I think we're at 6, so I want to get to 12 MRR, 12K MRR.
Love that goal. And I've written down monetize MCP, which ties into that. I would love for us to find a way to monetize MCP and have Recoup be one of the first companies that are pushing on that hypothesis that there is a lot of untapped business opportunity by monetizing an MCP server that you've hosted.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the last thing, which is like a most important question. It's like a kind of important question. Like it's not the top 3 that we just discussed, but something that like I've been thinking through, and we kind of thought about this in the beginning when we first started building this, was like the concept of funnels. And I was listening to a podcast the other day with the kid who did the Cal app. It was my first millions with the Cal app, where it's like you take a picture of your thing and it tells you the calories, right?
Right.
And like his distribution model for building products was so interesting, because he was like, he doesn't think about he thinks about the virality of the post first. What's the MVP 1 feature that would go viral, that has viral potential? right? That he could then reuse, and then from there build all of the other features once you get people onto the platform, right? But
Right.
so his version of that was like, okay, cool. I can all day make posts about taking a picture of this cheeseburger and then look at it. It tells me all this stuff, and that's like just it's like a viral aha moment that you can capture in 10 seconds visually that you could just build content around. And so thinking through what could that be for our platform, and and then also thinking through is this something that it's just that's the question that's been bubbling. Is it music focused for musicians? Is it creator focused because it makes it a little bit wider, and easier to create an aha moment that is more distributable? And then what could that aha moment be that's easy and gets people to just be gets people that could become our target customers interested enough to be like, huh, let me go try that. That's like a really low barrier to entry wow moment,
Mm-hmm.
So thinking through what that could be. So yeah, I'm just gonna start creating a list of a bunch of ideas. Some things I was thinking of is like you had put if a artist knowledge, an artist visual knowledge base, so that they can just come in. We already have because we're scraping all of their posts, we'll already have all of that information, so that all they have to do is come in and go, make me an album cover in this style, and it generates an album cover of them in the style, so really cool shit like that. Or I don't know, who should I collaborate with? I don't know, just thinking through all of these, what's a viral, what the that shit was crazy.
You mind if we wrap up?
I think we're good, man. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed today. Less on the notion, more on in the weeds and the products, showing features. It's always fun. Awesome job this week, man. You fucking killed it.
We started this call thinking everything is burning. We're ending this call feeling like we shipped some good stuff this week and had a great quarter. If you stuck around this long, please click the like button, give us a follow, leave us a comment down below of what your favorite part of this quarter was. If you've been sticking around this whole season, this is only day one. We're going to be coming back with Q2 Recoup on our weekly calls next Friday. We'll see you then. Bye, everyone.